What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie. This is part 64, but technically 61 because I ended up combining the 3 Shut Up and Play Your Guitar releases into the 1 box set in the Ultimate Rankings. So we're in the 60s. I'm going to rank and review the guitar solos on this album, Guitar, nothing but guitar solos, and songs they are in. Yeah, I'm going to rank them according within the context of just the album. I'm going to do it in 2 parts. This will be disc 1. There are 17 solos on disc 1. I believe there are 15 on disc 2. So 32 to tackle at once. It would just be crazy. Yeah, I'm just going to talk through them from my least favorite to my favorite. I'll put the list on the screen when I'm done if you want to see what it looks like. I'm not going to rank it yet, this album, compared to the other albums, only because I'll wait till I do disc 2 to do that. But it's going to be high up there. It's a top 10 for sure, if not a top 5. We'll see. It's fantastic. It's nothing but guitar solos. They're all really good. So the ranking really is favorite to least favorite for whatever reason. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do. All right, this is it. Came out. When did this come out? I don't even know when this came out. Like 88, right? 2-disc set. All right, that's what I'm doing, the disc set. All right, let's do it. 17 solos on disc 1. Here we go. Number 17 is Hotel Atlanta Incidentals. This is a Hot Plate Heaven at the Green Hotel. It's kind of short. I mean, it's got some good phrasing in it, some good ideas, but I don't think there's not a signature riff. There's not a signature vamp. There's not a signature Frank moment. It's just solid, consistent Frank playing. Number 16, Were We Ever Really Safe in San Antonio? I got a tornado warning about 2 or 3 hours ago. Turns out that tornado warning was blue skies and hot weather, so never panned out. So we were safe in San Antonio, possibly a little too safe. This Drowning Witch solo tells me. Again, kind of reminds me of Hotel Atlanta Incidentals. Kind of one of the shorter solos, not a really driving any sort of motif that's there or anything crazy, just solid, consistent, kind of low-key Frank playing. Number 16, it's a Drowning Witch solo. Number 15 is Inagata-Stravinsky, a Let's Move to Cleveland solo. It starts off with Tunis playing a kind of a really fast version of the Inagata-Davida. Doon, doon, doo, 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 doon, 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 doo, doo. Really upbeat. It's just kind of hectic, as Let's Move to Cleveland solos are from '84. Kind of chaos. Frank comes in quoting The Rite of Spring in the beginning, and then we're off to some weird solo land. A little bit of chaos. It's just, I really don't like that Inagata. I mean, the Frank playing is really good, but the Inagata-Davida kind of takes me out of it. But I gotta acknowledge the chaos of Let's Move to Cleveland's from the 80s. So that's cool. Number 14, That's Not Really Reggae. A whipping post solo. When Frank was doing all kinds of crazy things with that whipping post vamp. It kind of it's just it's not really reggae. It's another one that I'm like, it's kind of like, it doesn't annoy me. It kind of also reminds me of Hotel Atlanta and San Antonio. Kind of a little laid back, a little chill, a little subdued. Yeah, it's a good solo. I will say this about almost all of these. This is not the order they are on the release, obviously. I think the sequencing on the actual release is perfect. Like, where this falls, where Were We Ever falls, where Hotel Atlanta Incidentals falls, they're like sandwiched between like these way more epic things. And these are almost necessary breathers in the course of the album. So if I were to go through the album in order, I think I have a higher opinion of these because they provide some really necessary contrast and relief from the intensity of Frank. But when just looking at them as solos, it falls to number 14, That's Not Really Reggae, which I still enjoy. When No One Was No One is 13, a Zoot Allure solo. Some really good Zoot Allure's opening energy. Gets kind of crazy at the end of the solo. We start to hear that little, like, okay, this is going to be a really good show. Things are getting chaotic at the end. I think maybe there's even a loop that starts getting played with a little bit. But some good intensity to a Zoot Allure. It's a good opening. Zoot Allure's is one of those that's very blank slate-ish. You know, Frank can do a lot of things with it, but because it's such a blank slate, sometimes it just kind of stays here. This one has some really nice uplifting moments. Yeah, 13. 12, which one is it? Fantastic, fantastic. This is an excerpt from the Black Page number 2, the same Black Page that was on You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore, Volume 5. We're already deep into the solo by this point. We got loops going crazy. It's just chaos. It's madness. It's the second solo on here. It follows sexual harassment in the workplace. Perfect placement. Great solo. Great energy. Great intensity. But yeah, it's number 12 because everything else on here is really fantastic. Number 11, Jim and Tammy's Upper Room, Advanced Romance solo. This one is currently competing in March Madness elsewhere on this channel. It got nominated by somebody, so it's up there. Got a couple more of these that are representing. Really good playing by Frank. Some really good, just like dun 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 dun. Really aggressive, almost pseudo metal type stuff. The thing that drops it a little for me is that Advanced Romance vamp that I can't say I don't like it, but it just doesn't inspire me as much as some of his other vamps. But it's still a really fantastic solo. The energy is fantastic. It's very aggressive. Frank has some really nice sort of phrasing throughout it, really nice hard sections. Yeah, good solo. Just my number 11. Number 10, Sunrise Redeemer. This is a Let's Move to Cleveland solo. Really neat little bass line that Tunis is playing to start it off. Kind of a little upbeat, but also very weird in a Tunis sort of way. Some really nice sort of introspective kind of phrasing by Frank, but there's still some intensity to it. Right towards the end, it kind of just takes this weird shift where I think Tunis starts playing like these arpeggiated chords or something, but it seems to like evolve into this other thing for way too brief of a period of time. And it's almost like, it's like maybe a 3.5 minute solo. If it had been like an extra 1.5 or 2 minutes with this new sort of like vibe, it would have jumped up a number of spots. But it fades out also, so we don't get the ending of it. But it's a good little thoughtful, like sitting back, watching the sunrise, being maybe thinking about your day or thinking about your life type solo. A good ending to this first disc. Number 9 is Chalk Pie, another Zoot Allure solo. Pretty aggressive, got that pretty prominent reggae vibe going in the back that's just kind of subtle in there. Some really good energy to this, good attack by Frank. He's in a great mood. It's that Zoot Allure, as we're just kind of, it's a level playing field. There's not much to get in the way of Frank rhythmically. You know, the Scott and Chad are kind of playing low key in the background. But Frank's just tearing up the landscape. It's another great opening song to a show, opening solo. Number 8, one of only 2 performed sexual harassments in the workplace. I think this is the first of the 2, right? And yeah, I love this song, love the vibe. The title is absolutely perfect because there is sort of this like darkness to this solo, but at the same time, there's this like playfulness, but it's like a slap your hand type playfulness, which is sexual harassment in the workplace. So the phrasing is great. There seems to be this like emotional intensity to the solo. It's a great song to open a show with. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. Frank to come out and drop a solo like this. Really, really good. It's the first thing on the entire set. Strong start, excellent solo. Really, really good. Yeah, it's at number 9 because the other 8 are fantastic. But yeah, just really good. It's one of those where I'm not sure if it's this high up because the vamp is so awesome and I just love the overall feel of the song, or whether it's Frank's actual playing, but it doesn't matter because, you know, they're so connected. Number 7, once again, Without the Net. I think it's without a net, not without the net. It's going to say without the net on the thing, but I'm pretty sure it's without a net. Let's Move to Cleveland solo. And I honestly thought this was going to be higher up, like close to the top instead of at number 7. But then the more I listen to these, I'm like, oh no. But right about 45 seconds into this, it's a Let's Move to Cleveland solo. It starts off almost exactly like another solo further on up this list with just like, you're done with Let's Move to Cleveland vamp. Like the floor kind of drops out. There's like sound effects coming in from the keyboardist, you know, Tunis and there's this weird stuff going on before Frank enters the fray. And like these Cleveland solos always remind me of Frank just kind of walking into like a like a carnival madhouse, but like a warehouse full of just random carnival stuff, and he's trying to like dodge it or engage with it, and it's just like the things aren't necessarily connected, but they're all in this same space. And that's what this starts off with for about 45 seconds. Then right about 45 seconds into it, Wackerman does a dunt, 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 starts playing Andy. And they ride that Andy vamp for minutes. And Frank is soloing over Andy vamp, but it's got a different feel than he would solo over Andy in earlier tours or in '88. It's got this neat, that vamp, that dunt, 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 whatever, dunt, 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 that 1, 3, 3, 2, 1, 3, then something, right? That vamp, it reminds me, for some reason, there's a point in his solo where it seems like Frank is working against the vamp, and it always reminds me like Frank is a salmon, swimming upstream, and like the vamp or like, you know, the ladder. So it's just like dunt, 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 dunt. And then Frank at one point is like almost like pulling his guitar, like he's trying to work up against this flow. Absolutely awesome. It's just absolutely amazing. Just such an incredible solo. Such an incredible moment. Such an incredible vibe. Love it. I'm going to switch that without a net. Number 6 is That's Not Really a Shuffle. This sounds like it's from Marcuson's Chicken. It is very similar to the vamp that would eventually be used in Marcuson's Chicken, but it's a little bit faster than that. And there was a vamp almost exactly like this, if not this one, that was used in King Kong for a while before it got switched over to Marcuson's Chicken. So this is either a King Kong vamp or a Marcuson's Chicken vamp from '82. This solo is ridiculous. It's just that bump on it. It's just that loud bump on it type thing. Oh, just the aggression. Frank is going off. This is like '82 Frank at his absolute best. It's a beast of a solo. And it's one of the last solos on the CD. So even though you've already like made your way through like 14 other solos, this one still manages to grab your interest. Like whether you're listening to it in isolation or listening to it after a whole bunch of other stuff, it stands out. The vamp stands out. The playing is aggressive but innovative. It's just, it's fantastic. The one that follows that on the CD precedes it on this list. Number 5, Move It or Park It. A Black Page number 2, Them or Us type solo, that really stark vamp that's also in Black Page number 2 on stage 5. It's also kind of the same vamp that started off Which One Is It? But yeah, that's another one. I just absolutely love this. The noise Franks makes, the notes he just holds out, the feedback he gets, like he's using his guitar to make all the noise he can. And then of course, between those hard vamp breaks, he's just going off. Might be my favorite. I mean, I think my favorite Them or Us Black Page one has to be the Volume 5 Stage 1. But I think I like this one better than the one in Them or Us. I think this is just fantastic. I love the aggression of these solos. I love the vamp. I love the space it just gives Frank to shred in. And he's shredding in this. Number 5, Move It or Park It. Number 4, Do Not Pass Go, a Drowning Witch solo. This one is also competing in March Madness. In fact, I think it's going right now. You can vote for it. Or is it coming up? Oh, it's coming up. The voting for that comes up on Saturday if you're watching this before Saturday, March 16th. A Drowning Witch solo, one of those more introspective ones, one of those deeper ones, one of those more melancholic, maybe not the right word there, but one of those softer, subtler, kind of Drowning Witch, similar to like Were We Ever Really Safe in San Antonio from further back in this list, but just the phrasing is better on this. The exploration is better. Frank's going different places. The rhythmic support is always fantastic. Number 4, Do Not Pass Go. Number 3, Republicans. Love this thing. This is the Let's Move to Cleveland fun house of horrors. We start off with this doo-doo-doo-doo, weird sound effects and this weird little arpeggio into like this solo space. And Frank's just doing all this weird stuff. At one point, he has this like weird, again, where he's like working up the salmon ladder. Every once in a while, the light gets really weird in here. Working up that salmon ladder, this like just climbing up this thing. Aggressive, chaotic, 5 minutes of just madness. Like, Let's Move to Cleveland's from '84. That's a box set that, like, have you done that Coaster Magic X2 if you're watching this? Have you done the Let's Move to Cleveland's from '84 yet? Because if you have, I'm going to go listen to it right after I finish making this video. Yeah, absolutely. Let's Move to Cleveland's from '84. Just some of the most chaotic, magical things. And this is one that took me a while to come around to because I don't really like the beginning of it. I don't like the intro to these solos, but once we get into them, I'm fully invested. And now I've come to actually like the intro to this. Republicans, number 3. Number 2 is that old G minor thing again. Carlos Santana's secret chord progression. This is amazing. This is just, I think, the best of these. His opening phrase is absolutely perfect. His solo is perfect. Once we get to the end, we got loops going and pedals and all kinds of really chaotic craziness per like 82, as 82 would get many times in his solos. Just, it is the best of the so far officially released variations on the Carlos Santana secret chord progression. That is hidden right there in the middle of City of Tiny Lights. This one tops it. This one got nominated for March Madness, but I do not believe it made it past the first round. It had to go against Pink Napkins, so yeah, that wasn't going to stand a chance. But it's a great solo. It deserved to make the tournament. I highly suggest you go check it out. Highly suggest you go check all these out. And my number 1, I just sits like almost right there in the middle of the album. It just sounds a little bit different just because of when it was recorded. It's the oldest solo on this disc. But we have Outside Now, which from '79, it's called the original version, I think, or original solo on the disc. But it was one of the ones played in '79, and they were played in the middle of City of Tiny Lights. So the top 2 solos are City of Tiny Lights solos on here. That's pretty cool. But yeah, we get a City of Tiny Lights solo just right there. Right there. Outside Now, we get that Outside Now vamp. We don't get the actual song, and we get that progression, and Frank solos over that in the middle of a City of Tiny Lights. And this solo is like, it's like, I wish this was the one on Joe's Garage, because it's like, you know, the story behind it. You know, it's like there's an emotional core to it. There's this like dystopian despair in it, and like the phrasing, all the different passages that Frank goes through, all the different emotions, like all the different like just blocks of like 30 to 40 second like melodic like ideas that he toys around with before he goes on to something else. Arthur and Vinny sound absolutely amazing. It's just, it stands out to me as just somewhat, these solos are all fantastic, but this one just has this like depth to it that a lot of these don't have. As fantastic as they are, just the whole Outside Now, everything surrounding that song and all of that, just, I don't know, it's just absolutely amazing. That's my favorite on here. But yeah, that's what they all look like right there in writing. I do have the songs right next to them, so if you want to, just so you know, for context, I think it makes all of these a lot more interesting. Some of them it's fun because, like, especially like Hotel Atlanta incidentals, my favorite part about that, the one that's on the bottom, is right as the solo is about to end, you can hear them ramp up to the going back into hot plate heaven. So a lot of these, once you know, it's kind of cool to feel like, oh yeah, they're going, oh, but they don't, obviously. So anyways, yeah, that's what they look like. All right, that's all I got. Let me know your favorite solos from here. Let me know why I should reconsider the ones on the bottom of the list, why I'm wrong, you know, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to tell you what to put. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share. Go listen to this first disc, and then I'm going to drop disc 2 in a couple days with those solos. All right, thanks for watching. Peace. Talk to you later.